Representative Aubuchon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask that Representative Porth be recognized to offer his farewell remarks.
Members, take your seats. Representative Porth, you are recognized for your farewell remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. When I campaigned 8 years ago, I frequently quoted Hubert Humphrey that a society must be judged by how it treats its most vulnerable, those in the dawn of life, the twilight of life, and the shadows of life. Whether it is the Old Testament, for he shall deliver the needy when he crieth, the poor also, and him that hath no helper, or the New Testament, you did for the least of these brothers and sisters, you did for me. I ran for this seat in hopes of doing the most for those that have the least, in hopes of passing meaningful laws that positively impact lives of those that needed it the most. And both Humphrey's words and biblical passages relating to the most needy have been my guiding principle since I took office in November of 2004. With the support of my colleagues, we have strengthened our commitment to the most vulnerable through legislation. We brought new protections to the homeless by increasing penalties for those that seek to do them harm, and made it easier for restaurants to donate to homeless shelters by limiting their liability. We created the state's first college preparatory boarding school for at-risk youth. We required better background screenings for those working with our children and seniors. And we protected victims of domestic violence by creating an Employee Leave of Absence Act. Growing up the grandson of Holocaust survivors and having lost 13 members of my family through Nazi annihilation, it was incredibly important to me that Florida's workers' retirement dollars not be invested in businesses that did business with Holocaust deniers and America haters. You stood with me, members from across party lines and across the state. You stood with me, members from different races and different religions. We stood together in what was my proudest moment here, as we sent a message to the world, and Florida became the first state in the nation to divest our pension fund from businesses that did business with Iran and Sudan. Thank you for honoring our soldiers abroad. Thank you for honoring human rights, and thank you for honoring the memory of my family members who were taken too soon. And then there was Lieutenant Bart Barta. We met in 2007 when I attended an open house for the local Center for Autism and Related Disabilities. Bart is a celebrated police officer, devoted husband, and committed father. He has 3 kids, and his youngest son, Daniel, was diagnosed early with autism. Bart has great health insurance, but it didn't cover pediatrician-recommended behavioral therapies so that his son could learn verbal and social skills. Bart told me when we first met, to afford the therapies, he and his wife had to take a second mortgage out on their home. Realizing the sacrifice he made for his son and believing that life-changing therapies shouldn't just be for the most wealthy, I met up with some local activists at a Starbucks in Fort Lauderdale. On a little coffee napkin, we drafted the Window of Opportunity Act, and I filed a bill that had failed in 10 previous sessions to require insurance companies cover behavioral therapies for children on the autism spectrum. Children across Florida today are benefiting from that bill, and Mary Kay and Victoria, never let anyone tell you hard work and grassroots advocates can't pass a bill in the legislature. We proved them wrong. Mr. Speaker, I thought this might be the ideal time to impart a few lessons I've learned that perhaps may offer some support to other members of the House. When a fellow representative from another party approaches you to work on positive change together, embrace it. That is truly working on behalf of your constituents, and their best interests should be the reason we are all here. One of the most enjoyable aspects of this job for me has been the chance to get young people excited about the process. Encourage them. Let them know they can truly make a difference in the lives of others. Flu shots, bone density screenings, expired drug buybacks, driver's license assistance. Our community office has regularly opened its doors to host neighborhood events, bringing in state and local agencies and other providers so that services that might be otherwise burdensome are made more easy and accessible. Use your office to improve the lives of those you represent. I've shied away from the title representative. I really prefer that people call me Ari. When your service in Tallahassee has concluded and you return full-time to your colleagues, friends, and most importantly, your family, you want them to still recognize you. Leave the process as close to the same person as you entered it as. Remember why you're here, who sent you, and what sort of legacy you'll leave when you're gone. I hope I've served the citizens of Florida with integrity and honor they deserve, in particular my constituents in Coral Springs, Tamarack, Lauderhill, North Lauderdale, and Sunrise. I want to thank them for the incredible privilege they have given to me and the chance to do good and to make a difference. Only a few of you have had the chance to meet my wife, Tatiana. She's pretty special. She's at home watching on TV. She's beautiful, brilliant, and creative, but she's not a fan of anything political. So she came up once for my swearing in, once for our friend Jeff's wedding, and those were the two and only times. So it was a major undertaking getting her tough Russian mind around allowing me to run. But she did, and I am grateful. She also provided me with God's greatest gift, our son Gabriel, who has brought tremendous joy and a lot less sleep into our life. I want to thank my entire family for their guidance, encouragement, and amazing, unwavering support through this journey. I want to thank my boss at home, Mike Satz, the state attorney for Broward County, who has been supportive and accommodating of my time away. Our executive director, Monica Hoffhines, who is resourceful, wise, and always has my back. And the hardworking assistant state attorneys of the 17th Judicial Circuit who have had to step up repeatedly while I've been gone. There are many moments and many people I'll remember. I'll remember my freshman year debating Dennis Baxley on a controversial gun bill. I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this story. I asked, what if I were in the 10 items or less line at Publix with too many items, and the shopper behind me is understandably irate and pushes me out of line? Can I pop a cap in him, proceed to check out my items, and call for cleanup in aisle 3? It may have been clever. I even got quoted in papers around the state and mentioned in an article in Playboy magazine. My first time so far. But when I look back on that exchange, I regret having caused any embarrassment to another member. I learned a lesson that day, and Stan Mayfield helped me learn a lesson that day by retaining the one and only bill that I had moving through committees. This process often brings together unexpected allies. A Jewish Democrat from Broward County and a Christian conservative from the country can in fact be friends and even work together on positive reform. Dennis, thank you for your compassion and big heart, and thank you for working with me to make a difference when just 3 days ago on this floor, we passed out smart justice. I'm confident you and Speaker-designate Weatherford will continue along a path of reform that keeps the public safe and turns lives around. I'll remember being saved on more than one occasion by Gary Obashan. I'll remember jogging with Marty Kerr, snacking with Dorothy Hugel, kibitzing with Irv Schlossberg, busting chops with Matt Hudson, chilling at Clyde's with Darren Soto, and enjoying bubble tea with Doug Holder and Will Snyder. I'll remember the compassion and grace of Denise Grimsley, the tenacity and strength of Ellen Bogdanoff, the sage advice and generosity of Franklin Sands, and the selflessness of Brad Drake. I'll remember the warmth and hugs of Miss Betty Reed and Tuesday night dinners with Jeremy Ring and Candace Eriks. Special thanks to my staff at home, Lori Plotnick and Barbara Hoffman, who are fiercely loyal, incredibly well organized, and run one tight ship. And to my aides here, Dan Daly and our OPS, Robbie Holroyd. Both have aspirations to serve. Dan, already candidate for the Coral Springs City Commission and a Senator Rubio in the making. And Robbie, hoping one of you may see fit to hire him up as your aide. He'd serve any of you well, and a stack of his resumes are here on my desk for those interested. Dan and Robbie both happen to be moderate Republicans and fraternity brothers of Representatives Broder and Dorworth, but don't hold that against them. Speaker, as you well know, the House has amazing staff, and they have made this process so enjoyable. From the clerk To the sergeant, to House administration, and to the speed racers and bill drafting, thank you. I'm leaving this process with a lot less hair, but many more friends. A number in the room, in the gallery, and outside those doors. My brother from another mother, Alan Jean, who got me here, stuck with me, and will help me get to my next purpose. And when I just needed to vent, few people listened better than Wally Eccleston, Rich Ramos, and Neil McGarry. To my dear friend Jeff Scott, who along with his wife Kimberly, pushed me outside my comfort zone and introduced me to fishing, backwoods blues, and some of the best darn Southern food. And my confidant and strategist Jonathan Kilman, whose talents are boundless, he just never ceases to amaze me. Although I don't have an older brother, Rob Penazik has been like one for me. He's always my first call for help and never fails at offering quality advice and counsel, and I treasure our friendship. After my initial hazing, upon presenting my first bill in this House 8 years ago, I stood on this floor. I put on this helmet. And this chest guard, and I did get permission from the rules chair to bring props today, Mr. Speaker. And I raised this whip, and I told Speaker Bentz I was ready for battle. Rep. Thurston isn't here today, but he's going to make this helmet look good. Rep. Weatherford, Speaker-designate Weatherford, you never know when you need a chest guard. And Rep. Workman, this whip is for you. Where are you? Are you here? You look like the kind of guy that likes whips. Mr. Speaker, I'm ready for my next battle. This time it's going to be closer to home, and hopefully I'll be holding a gavel soon too. Thank you, members.
Well said, Representative Porth. Representative Porth? Representative Porth, I just want to say it's been a pleasure serving with you, and we are eager to see where life takes you next. But just from me to you, man, you've done a really great job. We will miss you. Wish you good luck and Godspeed in all your endeavors.